So in today's review, I'll be covering Crown and Chains' new song, Carry Me, which released today, so the day I'm dropping this video. I'm still so confused by time zones because Daniel said something about the 25th, but then he was like, no, never meant the 26th, so I feel like that's probably a time zone thing because they're over in Cali. But time zones, I don't get them. They're just so confusing. I think it's even difficult to go from like GMT. I'm like, wait, what? So let's just say it came out today, so if you haven't listened to the song, go listen to the song first on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your music from, then come back here and then watch the review, because I feel like that'll make more sense. But on the other hand, if you want to discover the song together with me, then you're welcome to do that as well.
I only ever study darkened mirrors. They tell me what I hate. The rage and hurt are always clearer. Cracked souls need to relate. The towards sharing what is hard to hear.
That's interesting that it's so like this beat-based and voice.
A compelling narrative.
Oh?
Without the inspiration of my pain. It's often dark, but there's way more to see. There's always more to read. I opened up the book and rearranged the pages. I need to get myself into a flow where I describe some more beneath the hurt that's on the roof. Let's move on. Break into a new song.
Yes.
The dark stayed far too long.
The vocals, so on point.
Break into a new song. The dark stayed far too long. So I need you to carry me.
Catchy. Whoa, turn up the epic dial to like 11 and 1. Whoa. Sweet.
In a fight for my life, can you carry me?
Loving the duality.
No more bills, so
Oh,
can you make me
yes.
clean?
Excuse you? That was unexpected. Whoa. Nice! Oh my! Oh gosh, what? That was, whoa moments, because that was unexpected. What a song! I mean, they have two amazingly talented vocalists. You have the flow mixed in with like this powerful voice on the other end, and it's like they mesh so well, even though it's so completely different styles. And oh, like especially that part towards the end, I don't know if it was like the bridge or outro section, I don't know exactly, but where it's like this carry me, and then you have the in the background, and then you have a flow over it. It felt like there were two people like standing like atop of a cliff. There was a sense of like epic vibe. Oh, yee! And then that scream at the end, I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? And some strong beats, some banging guitars, like, okay. They've definitely like turned the page with this one a little bit, like stylistically, because Hourglass was already completely like, whoa, okay, we are definitely moving into this new world. And then like King Suffering Part 2 is like, what? I mean, that song also, when it came out, like King Suffering 2 is like up and down, on repeat all day long. It's still, oh, I put it on regularly. It's so good. And now this, wow, I really love this new era. It's really awesome. And I already love this despite the fact that I'm not even that deep into the whole lore, which I feel like will just add a whole nother dimension to this. So like to all the peasantry members that might be watching, do feel free to like comment down below on stuff that I'm completely missing out on, because I don't have a clue, and the little clue I have, I only have thanks to my love Parand, who always keeps me in the loop and tells me about all the ideas and theories that are going on, because otherwise I would have even less of an idea. But yes. Okay, so I'd say let's dive into the lyrics a little bit. Daniel was gracious enough to send them over my way so I can dive in, and yeah, let's do that right now. Okay, so I've pulled the lyrics up on screen, and I'm just gonna look over there like once in a while, so to remind myself what they actually are. But yeah, let's go through this bit by bit. So basically in the first verse, it's all about what the last line in that verse is, which is inspiration of pain. And for me, that comes through the whole like rage and hurt, always clearer, sharing what is hard to hear, I struggle to create compelling narrative without the inspiration of my pain. This very much stresses the fact how a lot of times like negative emotions, like very dark emotions, anxiety, heartache, failure, disappointment, all these scorching feelings are a lot of times a fountain of inspiration. And what line like I really like in here is like the cracked souls need to relate. So also saying the people you write for, the people that hear these songs are cracked souls, so they also deal with these kind of emotions, and that's why the songs or the narrative are compelling for them. And what kind of triggered something here was the misery loves company from Atmosphere by Normandy, because that's kind of in the similar headspace where it's like the broken people look for the broken people because they don't feel as alone in being broken. The next part of the song for me very much is about telling your authentic story, and maybe not being too sure about how to go about that and how much you want to share, how much of your authentic self you do want to put out there. Because we of course all know there's so many different facets to each and every one of us, so it's deciding what you show. The line with I opened up my book but rearranged the pages out of order, I think that's really interesting. I don't know if that's conscious or like a subconscious reference to Chapters by Daniel, because he says, I am the chapters at some point. So basically he's the chapters of his own story. Each and every one of us are the chapters of our own story, and we are the main characters that interact in different life situations. And depending on how we arrange these situations, we can tell a completely different story. So the last kind of part of this passage is to open doors discreet and do it orderly. And then plethora, I think that's how you pronounce the word, I'm not exactly sure. Actually, I also had to look up what that means because I had no idea. Plethora of soldiers, armed security. That for me seems to be a little bit about like that some sides of yourself or your story, you tend to guard those more. So plethora is actually a medical term, but it can also mean something, a large amount, or like a too large amount of something. So you have a too large amount of protection around some parts of yourself. And then we roll into the chorus, which is the whole let's move on. And it's very much about breaking from the darkness and closing that chapter and moving on to a brighter future, like letting the lights in. It almost feels like you're ready to open the windows to the world, like burst open the shutters and everything, be like, world, light, joy, come in, it's time for a new era. And with what I'm thinking with this, so I need you to carry me, that you could refer to supporters, so family, friends, the peasantry in that case, the fans, like them driving that change into a brighter future. And here it seems like there's an element of saying, hey, I wasn't even aware that you wanted to see this brighter side of me, that this is something you would also relate to. I thought you just wanted the dark, just wanted the failure, back to the cracked souls or misery loves company kind of vibe. I overdid the message, focused only on the sad, just being like sad, 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 dark, 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 and never being like, hey, there's a whole other side to the story. And obviously there's a lot of darkness in the first album Crown and Chains put out, and this is kind of not a step back from that, but there's definitely a switch. But like even Hourglass is still very dark. King Suffering 2 is also still very dark, but kind of edging away from that bit by bit. Then an interesting image in here I think is the double-edged sword. So something having both positive and negative effects. So my sword was double-edged at first, but now the tip and the sides are worn and really flat, just because the overdone part of like the darkness was overdone. That's why side is dull, but you need to start embracing the other side of that as well. And once again, in that last part, it's like, only need to write if I'm doing really bad, never made the happy, shared the dark times I had. So again, it's finding the main inspiration in darkness and not the light. And this part is all about the beauty of vulnerability for me, in a way, like showing sides of yourself that you'd really tucked away for a long time. So vulnerability, breaking from the hidden me, so you opening up, deciding to show yourself. I promise I'm facing the hurt. So facing the hurt and in a fight for my life, these two go together really well, I feel like, because it's this whole idea of moving into a new light, of moving into a lighter time, and therefore also into a brighter, lighter life. And then the you can carry me, so being like, I trust you with this. I trust you to help me because I know with your help I can do this. So it's this whole promise, swear, declaration of intent, like I am going to be better, I'm going to be brighter, I'm also going to share this side of my story. And the last line, that one really hit me. Joy is the lesson that I've yet to learn. Joy is the lesson that I've yet to learn. That is basically saying I need to allow myself to be happy. I need to allow myself to feel joy, which sometimes cannot be that easy. Throwing a bit of my own story in there is I surely have struggled with moments where whenever I am really happy about something or whenever it really sparks joy, I'll have these moments where I'm like, I'm not allowed to feel this, or I feel almost guilty for feeling these positive emotions. And for the longest time, I've always like held them back and filtered them down a lot. But I've really stopped doing that. And whenever I catch myself in the in the mindset of being like, okay, yeah, no, you shouldn't be this happy about it. I'm sure there's gonna be like a failure attached to this, a train wreck attached to this. And I'm like, no, why? Why shouldn't I be able to be happy? Why shouldn't I allow myself to like live this joy? That's so dumb. So, and it's not a very healthy behavior. So if you ever catch yourself in these kind of situations where you're starting to not allow yourself to be happy and joyful, then tell your head to, shut the fuck up, get itself sorted out, and let you enjoy what's happening right now. And with those words, let's roll into the last part of the song, which seems to be a reference to Hourglass. At least, I feel like the Asylum is a reference to the Hourglass. Why I say that is because my only mirror and the glass walls sand weighs me down. So the mirror being the inside glass from the hourglass, so you're stuck in that. Because the same thing is happening over and over again. You're in the same darkness over and over again. Like whenever one is over, then you just turn the hourglass around. And the shadow itself, once again, playing with the image of light and dark, where light and dark meet. That's what a shadow is. And then the end saying, so carry me. And basically ending it with the carry me out of this time, help me out of this time. Ending on a hopeful note. And honestly, this song, the lyrics, they did something to me, and they are really, really relatable. So yeah, I don't know how any of you watching this are feeling about this, but I would love to hear your thoughts, your stories in the comments. That's been happening so much more recently with these videos. People really commenting their own stories, and I just love hearing that because it shows what music does to us in our lives, the big role it can play in how we live and how we think. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, to have these kind of discussions. So please do in the comments or hit me up on Instagram or whatever. DMs are always open for whatever reason. So yeah, that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Crowned in Chains for delivering this amazing song and for being like supportive and amazing, and much love to you.